and welcome back to my channel, Live a Thousand Lives. I'm Janaea. If you're new here, welcome. If you're joining me again, thank you so much. And today we're going to be doing my July wrap-up. So excited for this. I did way better than I thought I would. I can contribute that to Booktubeathon that this last year was the first one I participated in. So I'm so excited. But I read 9 books in the month of July, which is a lot for me, but I'm super excited to share them with you. So, the first book that I read in the month of July read and finished, was The Selection by Kiera Cass. I almost said class. Anyway, I don't know who's all heard of this, but it's basically about a competition to win the prince's heart. It kind of reminded me of Hunger Games without the having to kill each other part. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars because I felt like it was a really fast read. It was entertaining, but it wasn't like the deepest, plot line. But it was still entertaining. Definitely worth the read to me. The second book that I read, I do not have a copy because it was a library copy, but it was called Writer's Doubt. I cannot remember who it's by, but I'll leave the picture up above in here somewhere. And I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I felt like the guy, number one, I found multiple mistakes in this book, and it kind of seemed a little odd that a published writer was like making all of these mistakes. And then in the book, he actually says it's okay to have a bunch of mistakes. Your readers will love you anyway, which I thought that was interesting because the more mistakes that I found, like 1 or 2 I can understand, or, it wasn't a very big book. It was like 120 pages or something. And the more mistakes I found, the less credible he was to me, so I don't recommend that. If you're a writer like I am, I understand that there's going to be mistakes in almost every book you read, but there was a mistake on almost every page. So, yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Some of his information was great, though, so maybe check it out if you'd like. The third book I read in July was Elite, because I'm weird and I have to read a series all together. That's just how I am. By Kiera Cass. Now, because I don't know if anyone has read all of these, I'm not going to give you much except for it's the sequel to The Selection, and it's the continuation. So, the same thing I said about Selection for this one. Except for, there's not as many girls this time. And the next one that I read, I gave the Elite 4 out of 5 stars. The next one that I read, well, can you guess? The third book in the series. I know. Crazy, right? I actually like this one the best so far out of the 6 books I think there is. I liked this one the best. It was the conclusion to the first 3 books, but I liked this one the best. I thought it had the best storyline to me. The action, I don't know. I just loved it the best, and I can't really go into it because, like I said, I don't know who's all read these books yet. But they're pretty good. They're like a guilty pleasure to me, I guess. The next one I read, ready? Shocker! The novellas for the first 3 books. Happily Ever After. I really liked this. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I told you I gave the one a 5 out of 5 stars, but I did. But I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars because I loved getting the other stories from different characters, and so this was phenomenal for me. I really appreciate that she did this. You get background stories from different people from the Selection series, so I recommend reading this after you've read the first 3 books. The next one I read for Booktubeathon, and that was Our Own Private Universe by Robin Talley. I read this book as for the challenge, person on the cover, but also a hyped book, I believe. It was really good. I love the dynamic between the two main characters, but I also love the dynamic between our main character and her family members that are in the book. Her dad kind of reminds me of my dad. My dad's a preacher. Her dad's a youth pastor, minister. So it was kind of hit home for me. I did give this a 4 out of 5 stars, mainly because I felt the author put down religious beliefs a little bit in her in the book, but that could just be me. I don't know. I did really like the book though, so that's why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I will do a review on this and go more into my feelings about that at a later date, but yeah. The next one I read was an audiobook of my favorite book, East. I listened to it. I did not read this one for Booktubeathon. I had started it before then, and I ended it during it, but I felt like I couldn't count it. So, East. And this is a Norwegian fairy tale retelling. And super good, guys. Please check it out, by Edith Patu. Okay. The next one I read was a book I read in a day and was probably the biggest disappointment of my Booktubeathon experience, and that was A Gift of Magic by Lois Duncan. Lois Duncan is the one who wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer. I've read tons of her books. This one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars because it was so slow. Nothing really happened until the last 20 pages maybe. And it's a 230 page book. Yeah, that's, kind of all I have to say about it. And the last book, and my most favorite book for Booktubeathon, and pretty much for the month, this has gone up to my number 2 spot of favorite books. So, East, and then this one, and that's When Dimple Met Rishi. I loved this book, you guys. I used it for reading a book about a character different from me, and I used it for reading a book with a cover that you bought because of the cover. I love this cover. I love the dynamic between the two main characters in this book. I loved everything about it. I laughed, I cried, I was upset, I was frustrated. It made it all the feels, guys. All the feels. Look at this back cover. I just love this so much. This is probably one of the best books I've read so far this year. Yeah, that's saying a lot, because I've read a lot of good books, but so far this has my number 1 spot. I highly recommend checking it out, and it's by Saha Manan, I think. I'm so sorry if I butchered the name. But anyway, those are the books I read for the month of July. All 9 of them. I'm so proud of myself, guys. Because normally I read 3 a month. And this time I read 9. So, yeah. Booktubeathon is great to get you into reading a lot. And I have just kept plugging away. So, that was my July wrap-up. I hope you guys did as well in July as I did. Or better. And, just remember that a reader lives 1,000 lives, and you can too, so keep on reading, guys. Bye!